Hey guys, it's me, Miss Barber again. Um, Basically, this lesson is going to be about taking a word and breaking it apart. Because pretty much, did you know that words are nothing more than, puzzles that we have to kind of break into pieces and figure out what they mean. Hopefully, in your earlier elementary school years, you were introduced to prefixes and suffixes and root words. Those three words, hopefully, are a little bit familiar to you. But if not, no worries. Miss Barber's going to give you some great information. I'm going to share some information on Google Classroom so you can do a little bit of research on your own and learn a little bit on your own independently. And then Miss Hughes and I will be here. Miss Mansour will be here to support you with some help throughout some of these activities of word study. Okay. So the first thing when you're given a word, you want to ask yourself basically, is there kind of a word that's hiding within a really long word? You know, those times you've been reading a sentence and you are like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what this word means. But maybe you're reading it and then you're like, oh, I kind of see something in there that I recognize, right? And so then you start to ask yourself, well, possibly, is there a prefix at the beginning of this word, or is there a suffix at the ending of this word? What if it's, two words put together? And so we call those, of course, compound words, right? Or, are you seeing a word within a word, that a smaller word within a really big word that you recognize? So those are just all questions that you want to ask yourself when you see a word that you're not familiar with. I borrowed this cool anchor chart with just some tips and tricks on how to understand the definitions and what words mean. And these are things, hopefully, that this is nothing new to you, but to some of you it might be. But when you get to that really long word, you can't skip it. You just can't skip that unknown word, because you know somewhere down the line there's going to be a question about that word. So clues to look for possibly is to look for words that are either, right before or right after those words, or they're synonyms or antonyms that are set off by commas that typically will follow that word. Could you possibly use your inferencing skills for things that are said in the sentence before the word or the sentence after the word? Don't just read the initial sentence that the word is in. Again, as I said, we're going to break the word, learn how to break it into parts. We're going to look at some prefixes and some suffixes and root words. And then think about, we've been doing, I know Miss Hughes has been doing this too, our bell ringers, looking at nouns and verbs and adjectives and adverbs and prepositions. Think about what part of speech the word particularly is. When you say the word, if I say the word, let's see, skeptical. Does it sound like a happy word? Does it sound like a sad word, more positive, more negative? How does the word make you feel when you say the word? So does it evoke some sort of feeling within you? But if you're wise, as this little clue says here, you'll use clues to help you figure out and understand what that word means, right? You will. So why is it important that we use context clues? And why is it important that we use prefixes and suffixes? And why is it important that we study words? Those are three pretty important questions. So, they're why questions. Why is it important that we know prefixes? Why is it important that we know suffixes? Why is it important that we can recognize the root word or the base word? Why? Because in order to become true readers, in order to become fully literate, we have to be able to recognize and pronounce and understand the meanings of words of what we're reading. We have to. You must be able, in order to become that writer that you hope to be one day, you have to fully understand the full potential of every word you write. You have to. Word study is basically you being able to take a word, put it in front of you. Let's pretend this is my word. My babies. Take a word, put it in front of you. Okay, this is one word, right? One word. It's you being able to take that word, put it in front of you, and break it into pieces to be able to understand what it literally means, right? We don't want to use the good, bad, pretty words all the time. We want to use those, the vocabulary words in our English language that shows that we are literate, that shows that we can articulate our thoughts fluidly, especially if you're in the middle of an interview of a job of some sort. Particular resource that I am going to give you access to gives you access to hundreds and hundreds of root words that exist in our language, in the English vocabulary. And so if I were to click on sect, S-E-C-T, you see that this Latin root word means cut, right? So can you think of a word right now when I say S-E-C-T, if I give you the root word sect, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Here goes my Dora class. Yes, right. Dissect, insect, intersection, right? Or the word section itself. What's really cool about this website is you see this whole little button here that says, I'm pointing to the screen like you can see me pointing, which I guess you can. I'm on camera. It then takes you to this screen, which I absolutely love because you guys know I am a visual person. It brings you to this tree, basically, and your root word is at the bottom, means to cut, right? And then all the branches that branch off of this particular tree here that comes from the root word. See the roots? Get it? Root word, roots, root word. These words that branch from that root are all words with that evolve from that root word, such as dissection. Well, what does the word dissection mean? You'll learn hopefully in science class one day that when you dissect a frog or any other type of little animal or critter, you're going to slowly kind of cut it into separate pieces, right? An insect, if you click on that, is a small air-breathing arthropod, right? It's broken into sections. If you're going to intersect something, you're meeting at a point, and then intersection, of course, is where the lines meet, right? So you it goes into all kinds of everyday, how you can use this in everyday life. There's a podcast that it will actually read all of this stuff to you, where you do not have to read it yourself. It gives you related words that are related to this particular root word. But there are tons and tons of root words with this one. When you see this, what's the first thing you think of? Animal. That's the first thing I think of. And look, spirit. Spirit animal. Oh, yay. Touching spirit bear, right? And so then when you click on this, sorry, I'm nerding out, guys. I miss you guys so bad. You can look at all the different words that have the root word anima, right? Or anim, A-N-I-M, sorry, mind and spirit. And when you click on, let's look at this one. I have no idea what this word means. Think I know what this prefix means? I'm not sure, so we're going to click on it. Contemptible fearfulness. I thought that had something to do with fear. Something equal in full control of your faculties. Animator, we know what that is, right? Someone who imparts energy and vitality and spirit onto someone else, right? We give something A cartoon, life. We bring that to life. So, pretty cool, right? You got your quick summary. Remember, it'll read it to you in the podcast. It's pretty awesome. Even tells you where there's a map there that shows you where it evolved from. So anyway, going back on other resources that Ms. Barber is going to share with you on Google Classroom to help you with some of your activities that you're going to be responsible for this week with practicing with word study is I have an entire plethora of information regarding. Okay, so now let's practice a little bit. Okay, so the root word bio. If we were to look up the meaning for the root word bio, well, the information that I'm going to give you, you're going to have this information. So bio, the root word bio means life. So let's come back down here. So the root word bio means life, right? So then which of the following is the best example of a biography? All right, well, so if bio means life, then what's the best answer choice for biography? A newspaper article about flies, a book about the life of Abraham Lincoln, a novel about aliens, or a web article about September 11th. Here comes my Dora moment. You are correct. A book about the life of Abraham Lincoln. Okay, so then what about this? Using what you know about the root bio, the root word bio, which of these is the best definition of symbiotic? All right, so you may know what biography is because you've heard that since you were smaller. But if you're reading something about symbiotic, you're like, I have no idea what that means. What? So then we got to break this word down into pieces. All right, so SYM makes me think of symbol. Sounds like simple. But bio I know means life. So then I come down here and I look at all these answers: something unknown, troublemaker, an instrument in a band, two life forms living together. Two life forms right here, two life forms. So here we have the correct answer, right? So we have that life. You see how we may not know what this word means, but because we know what the root word means, we know that it has to be something that evolves around life. All right. The prefix auto up here, they're in the list that you will be given. Auto means self, right? Think of your car, automatic. I may have just given you the answer. Let's see. If your teacher says she wants you to start on your morning work automatically, she means do the work with her help, do the work with a partner, do the work, don't do the work, or do the work by yourself. So here comes the Dora moment. I'm going to wait for you to answer. Automatically. If automatically means self, then what's the better answer choice here? Do the work by yourself, right? Absolutely. Hang on just 1 second. So our last example we're going to look at is graph, Graph. When we think of graph, we automatically, our mind probably goes straight to our math teacher's class, right? Graphing something. All right. So what are you doing when you're graphing something? Charting requires writing, right? So in the list of information that you may receive, it says graph means to write, right? Means to write. So then what if you ask for an autograph? Now we know auto means what? Self, right? And we know graph means to write. Correct. So write yourself. So then what is the best example of an autograph? reading the life story of Walt Disney, having your mom write your name on your lunchbox, having Donald Duck tell you his name, or having Mickey Mouse write his own name on your t-shirt. So if you've got auto means self and graph means to write, so wouldn't that mean that Mickey Mouse is writing his own name on your t-shirt, right? You're wanting the best example of an autograph. You're wanting Mickey's to write his own name, right, on your t-shirt. Okay? So basically, in a nutshell, remember, when we study words, if I can go back to my handy dandy pictures, of course, it's not going to open now. If I can go back to my handy dandy pictures, this one right here especially, this is just a nice visual aid in general. When you're given a word, and it's a very long word, you break that word into parts, just like you would a puzzle. Don't ever skip over a word. That defeats the purpose. Break it into parts. Look to see if it has prefixes. Look to see if you can recognize the root word within the sentence, and then look to see if it has a suffix. And honestly, you want me to tell you the truth? It wasn't until Miss Barbara was older and she had to take this big test that was called the GRE that Miss Barbara was actually forced to study Latin and Greek root words and prefixes and suffixes. If I could encourage you to do one thing now at the age that you are right now, is to just, when you're bored and if you are a go-getter, start studying them. Start studying them so that when you're going after your master's or your doctorate and you have to know the meanings to a multitude of different vocabulary words, you are prepared so that you don't have to wait and try to push everything into studying in 1 month. Whereas if you're studying now, by the time it's time for you to take those really big, important tests, then you are prepared. So when you ask yourself, why am I ever going to use this in my everyday life? If you plan on getting a job in the future and becoming a productive member of society, you will have to have an interview. Some of you will have to take tests to get into particular programs that you want to apply for. Vocabulary is everything. Sadly, sometimes society does judge us based on how we present ourselves with the way that we speak to one another. Now, the way that I talk to you guys professionally, when we're really having a lesson, I try to speak professionally. But you guys know sometimes we talk informally and we say things that are not correct grammar. And we do that for fun sometimes, just to have fun, right? But there are times when you have to present yourself professionally, no matter what career you're going into. And this is the reason we have to learn to attack those words and understand them. All right. Well, you know how to get in touch with me if you need me for anything. I'm here, always here. Any questions, throw them up on Google Classroom. Well, don't literally throw them up on Google Classroom. You can put them on Google Classroom, post them on Google Classroom would be the correct word. Or, text, remind, all that good stuff. Email. Okay. All right. I will see you guys later. Bye.